are continuing our journey through the season of nonviolence, which is 64 days of practices that we can use personally to help us show up more in a peaceful, nonviolent way in the world. And if you haven't already grabbed one of our full flyers that has the practices for every day, they're right there on next to where you got your bulletins. Of course, you can follow on our Facebook, which has all of them too. And so, two of the themes from this week that really popped out at me were integrity and authenticity. I think authenticity is sort of a subset of integrity. And it reminded me of that quote from Mark Twain: "If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything." It's a great place to start, right? Like, yeah, you tell the truth, you don't have to remember what you told. It's much less complicated. So, as you know, probably, I was gone last week, and where was I last Sunday? Viva Las Vegas. That picture was actually taken on Monday, but we got to Las Vegas on Sunday. And so this is the first time I'd ever been in Las Vegas, and I'd be perfectly okay if it was the only time, but wasn't my thing. And I think that it really fits in with the theme because, and I know some people really like it, but it just all seems so false. And maybe if you want to escape from the world and do that, then maybe that's exactly where you want to be, but that's just not my jam. And it was also kind of funny because here we are, we're going by the Coliseum and the Paris with all this, and I'm like, yeah, it just doesn't look like the real thing. I was just there. So there was that too. And, like, oh my gosh, so many billboards. Like, as soon as you get off the strip, you get, like, billboards everywhere. There's oh my gosh, so many lawyer billboards, and it makes you wonder, like, it's all made, like, people getting in trouble. This is, like, all what Las Vegas is about, or at least, like, that part. And we actually heard somebody say that they only have one industry there, and that's tourism. And so it's all, like, caught up for that. And it's just an interesting kind of place to be. But, like as I said, as once you've seen the real thing, a facade just doesn't do the trick. Whether it's the facade of the Coliseum, or whether it's the facade of a person, or how we show up in the world. So, and those facades, they keep us in illusion, right? They keep us thinking that something is different than it is. It keeps us in separation. Illusion, we have a lot of illusions. Illusions that we're unworthy. Illusions of our rightness, which means their wrongness. Illusion of our distance from God, which sort of is the same as an illusion of unworthiness. Kind of fits in that same category, but people don't always name it that way. I've heard many people say, well, I'm unworthy of God's favor, which makes me just want to scream and have a fit when I hear someone say that, because I'm like, you are, why do you think okay, anyway, sorry. I don't know why I went there, because it just like totally makes me want to flip out, because I'm like, you are worthy, okay. God doesn't judge like that. So, to live a life of integrity and authenticity, we get to break through these illusions. Now you know why I picked that song for meditation? Whoa, it's great. To break these illusions, we have to look where the magician in our minds doesn't want us to look. Right? Usually magicians, they're telling you to look here when they're moving stuff around over here, right? And in our minds, we're like, oh, we can't do it. But the truth is that we can. The truth is that we are connected. The truth is we are one. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Pay attention to the truth. Pay attention. So, you know how I like my, use the dictionary definition. You never know what you might find there. So integrity, it's a noun. I think it's also a verb. But according to the dictionary, it's a noun. And the first definition is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. And number 2 is the state of being whole and undivided. So the first part is about saying true to what you said you would do, and say what you would do. And Charles Fillmore had a great definition from the Revealing word spiritual integrity. There's actually a definition, and it says that quality of the consciousness which makes one unswerving in their conformity to the divine standard. The quality of consciousness which makes one unswerving in their conformity to the divine standard. That's hard. What is the divine standard? That's the consciousness of the enlightened ones, of course. Jesus, Buddha, take your pick of the enlightened one, that consciousness. So, spiritual integrity is, it says the conformity to the divine standard. That might seem like a high bar, but we could say that aiming for that, doing our best to get there. And I was thinking about a friend of mine, a Unity minister, who I was just talking with her when I saw her a couple weeks ago, and she is well known in Unity as being a very spiritual person. She is kind of one of the prayer gurus of Unity. And she's like, I don't know why everybody always thinks I'm so wonderful and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, well, she's like, I just want to have fun. And I'm like, I get that. But the truth is that the people put her in such high regard because of her integrity. She doesn't just say pray, she does it. And you know that she does it. She spends, she'll go and spend weeks in the silence. She's done her spiritual work. She's done the work of healing her past stuff. And she had plenty of past stuff, but she's done the work. It was hard work, but she did it. She does her spiritual work. She continues to do her spiritual work. And so when she walks and talks, she has a certain something about her that makes people go, wow, that's good stuff. I want that. And so they hold her in high regard because she has that stuff. She doesn't have that stuff because, I don't know, because she was born with it. She worked her butt off for it. And she still wants to dance and have a good time and, do all those other things that we normal, quote unquote, normal people want to do. But she has high spiritual integrity. And that's why people are attracted to her. She's also got a really great accent that I'm sure helps. But her consciousness is so attractive. And so part of that consciousness of the enlightened ones, that's that integrity that we're aiming for every day. That's how we get there, right? How do you get to enlightenment? One step at a time. That enlightened one's perspective is there's not separation from us, from each other, from God, and that we're all in that same energy, right? We would agree that that's how the enlightened ones see the world. And so that's what we're aiming for. So remember, the second part of the dictionary definition is that state of being whole and undivided. lines are arbitrary. So here we are on the Hoover Dam. I'm standing in Arizona. Bill's standing in Nevada. Sure looks like we're standing next to each other, doesn't it? But somehow this spot right here is the dividing line. It's imaginary, right? I mean, I know, I was somewhere where I could wear short sleeve shirts outside. I know, you're jealous. And flip-flops. But these lines are imaginary. And so how do we, I mean, I'm not saying we need to pull down that wall, but how do we pull down the walls that separate us? The walls that separate us from the people around us, the walls that separate us from those who we want to put in the wrong bucket. The walls, the literal borders and walls that we have between ourselves and other states and countries and ideas and worlds. How do we tear those down? Well, we have to have a revolution of consciousness. And of course, a revolution of consciousness starts where? Yeah, inside. Good job. And so this is where we have to open up to that harmonizing power of love, right? Love is the harmonizing power of the universe. It's the super glue that sticks us together, makes us remember that we're all one. And so that revolution of consciousness is something that must happen and precede tearing down some of the physical walls to continue to ensure safety of those people, but we must do it, I believe, in order to change our world, heal our world, make it be where we want. I want to go. I want the peace ideal. I don't know about y'all. That's what I'm aiming for. So how do we let go of these attachments to the facade, right? Because that's what the problem is. We have these attachments to the fakeness. These walls that we think pretend, the otherness that we think, those are all pretend. I aim for the divine ideal. I know that I don't always hit the divine ideal, but I aim for the divine ideal. Just like my friend who I told you about, she's aiming for the divine ideal. Like I said, lots of people see her as a guru of sorts. She really knows her stuff, and she still has moments where she's snarky because I've heard them. So, we all aim for the divine ideal. We're not all perfect in our aim, but it doesn't matter because we're aiming for it. I believe it's possible for me. I believe it's possible for all y'all. We have the power to change the world in this room. We have the power to change the world. Do you believe that? Do you believe it? Yes. Okay, we got some of you who believe it. Excellent. We have the power. So I love how when you make a decision, have you had this happen to you, make a decision about like what you're going to do or what your theme is or something like that, and then all of these opportunities to new quotes pop up, but also opportunities to like stand in that come up. So I was watching Madam Secretary a couple nights ago, and one of the things I like about that show is the main characters really try to live in integrity. But what she said was, when you find no integrity in the situation, you find it in yourself. You change the world right where you're standing. Why do we do that? We can do that because we're worthy, right? We're worthy. Because if not us, who? Are you going to wait for someone else to cause the spiritual revolution? I'm not going to wait. Because we're the light. Because we can. That's why. So I'll close with this quote from Abraham Lincoln. "I'm not bound to win, but I'm bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live up to what light I have." I am bound to live up to what light I have.